else?
Bill Pucknick. I'm glad you kind of brought that up about funneling money into the resources that the city needs to put their money to instead of the Riverview Fest.
Summerfest.
Summerfest.
I don't know
right.
if you've attended, but we call it the Summerfest.
Summerfest, Riverview Fest, whatever. But we had the code enforcement officer tell us that he gets roughly 60 background checks a year on people in the city of Riverview. And I'm sure those things must at least cost $50 a piece. So that's $3,000. That's just for those. Another thing was, Mayor, you told us that on the when we had the meeting for the millage, that his job was to keep the city clean and to educate the people.
Educate the people, and just like a teacher would do in school, you try to educate, and if you don't learn, you take measures to either help them learn more, or you set remedial plans in effect, or you have to issue a violation. That's the job. He's here to educate, and if people don't understand, then he must take appropriate action.
He might have to take that magistrate to that same class, because she didn't seem to think that.
Well, I'm not going to comment. That's on your
right,
specific thing. You have,
but as long as you want to go on to that litigation, you said the attorney was under a retainer
for that court items. Mr. Pentuck?
That is correct. We're under a flat fee monthly retainer for prosecution services.
So the monthly retainer, there's a certain amount that each month you have to spend in court, is that it? Or?
No, we give them a certain amount per year, and they have to handle the load no matter how much it is.
Right. So is the city retainer a benefit to the city or to the city attorney?
I imagine, Mr. Workman, do you want to answer that?
Usually works out benefit to the city.
Because we have a lot of litigation where we have to, we have a lot of frivolous suits that we have to defend. And
well, I could agree with you on that.
Yes.
But why did you hire an outside attorney then to take Mr. Toll to court for his sign?
Since Mr. Toll is not, that is no longer part of litigation, we did that to show a point of fairness. And Mr. Pentuck paid that attorney out of his own firm. Is that correct? You absorbed the cost, Mr. Pentuck? Because he was named several times about the sign. So, and to be fair to everybody around, he hired an independent person to handle that, so it wasn't from his firm.
So we're to believe that nobody paid nothing in the city of Riverview for that?
Nobody paid anything.
How about the code enforcement officer? Did he do that volunteer?
It was his time. We paid for Mr. How much did we pay to defend that lawsuit? I believe we won that lawsuit too, that civil suit.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, we had to pay for Mr. Skirto's time and Mr. Lammer's time in court, but the attorney fees were part of our standard fee.
But see, that's where I guess we got the disagreement, because now you said there were 4 or 5 people that complained about the sign, which maybe there were, but a lot of people probably could have cared less about the sign, and they would have probably rather had the Riverview Summerfest than to get that sign taken down.
See, I don't. One minute you want the Summerfest, the next minute you don't.
I didn't say I didn't want the Summerfest.
You just said your money is better spent elsewhere.
No, you said you were putting money where you wanted it spent. I don't think the people wanted it spent there.
You said at the beginning that the money should be better spent not on the Summerfest.
But I'm glad you brought that up about the tape back, because if you go to Riverview City Council on YouTube, you'll see some of these tapes, and people will be able to watch and hear exactly what was said at these council meetings instead of taking people's words for what was said. So go on YouTube, Riverview City Council, watch some of those videos, and then people can get a first-hand information on what was said precisely, not secondhand or as somebody else is saying. Thank you.
I suggest you keep that in your campaign literature.
Your Honor,
Councilmember Trombley.
you know, I guess everybody's got a right to come up and speak. But if the people that come up here and speak, the 4 that are here just about every week, if the residents of Riverview believed that we're not doing our job, we'd be recalled. And if they believed that they were right, this place would be packed. And I ain't never seen anybody come up here to say anything except them. You know, it gets kind of sickening standing here listening to you guys yakety yak, but you got that right. So come on up every week and say your stuff. But if you had any valid points, the citizens would be here and we'd probably all be recalled and gone. So why don't you start a recall petition or something? Do something aggressive.
Or bring Uncle Steve down. Go ahead.